Hello and welcome to your daily mobile game sizzle with me, Jon Jordan. Today we're asking the question, how big is the global mobile games market? Doesn't seem like it should be a difficult question to answer, but as we will find out, it appears to be a very difficult thing to find out the answer to. So let's have a look at the graph. So this looks at the predictions of the size of the global mobile games market from three different market intelligence companies. So App Annie has most recently released some numbers. So it predicted, or it gave its size for what it thought the mobile game market was in 2016, and also has predicted the size in 2021. They're the blue columns. And then Superdata earlier in 2017 also predicted the size of the market, or said what the size of the market was in 2016 as it saw it. And then Newzoo, they're the green columns. I couldn't find anything particularly up to date from them, so these are figures from April 2016, so they're a bit old now, and that probably accounts for why they are the lowest figures. But the general spread is, I guess, what we're interested to see here. So App Annie reckoned the size of the global mobile games market just from App Store, so not including any advertising or anything like that. It reckoned it was $50.4 billion, which is big. Superdata reckoned the size of the market was $40.6 billion, so almost a $10 billion difference. And then Newzoo, actually said these numbers are a bit old, was about $37 billion. So between the three of them, we've basically got a spread of $13 billion, which is pretty massive. Kind of over 20% difference between the lowest and the highest. And more than just the spread of the market size in 2016, something which is now 3 months away. We can also see, looking at the Newzoo figures, when they kind of thought the market would be about a $50 billion market, and they were saying that they were predicting that 2019 would be the time when the global mobile game market got to $50 billion. App Annie clearly is saying that's happened already in 2016. So you can see, even if we're looking at when markets get to a certain size, we're saying, there's one company was saying it's already happened, and one company was saying, well, it's not going to happen for another 3 years. So one kind of key question is, does this really matter that these predictions are so wrong? Clearly, in some ways it does. $10 billion is a massive difference. It would be interesting to drill down into the assumptions behind these figures and try and work out how you can be off. I think if you were off a couple of $1 billion between companies, then that would kind of make more sense. To me, it's a little bit worrying that all these are clever people, all of them effectively have access to the same data, really. To be predicting something, 20% difference from a kind of the same data, you'd imagine. Clearly, it can't be the same data. There must be something weird going on there. But it suggests the market isn't well understood as perhaps people think it is. But for me, I'm not too concerned about how big the mobile game market is. We all know it's big. We all know it's still growing quite fast. So the inaccuracy, while worrying, we could perhaps say is not kind of fundamentally troubling, really. But what this kind of question throws up for me is how these companies should be better dealing and presenting their data. So I'd be much more interested to see why they think a market's going to grow from year on year. Where's that growth going to come from? And obviously they have this within their models, but they're not breaking this out in the report in any kind of coherent way. So as everyone always says, when you're doing maths tests, it's not really the answer that matters, it's the working that you're going to get marked on. And I think we should be kind of asking these companies a bit more about their working, because events can happen that can't be predicted. So as an example, in 2016 there were two games launched in the West that did $1 billion of revenue. One of them was Clash Royale, one was Pokemon Go. So Clash Royale is a classic case of a game that could have been predicted that it was going to be big quite quickly. But actually, Clash Royale is not an interesting game in terms of market growth. It did $1 billion, but most of that money was displaced from other games. So people spent money in Clash Royale that, if Clash Royale hadn't existed, they probably would have spent in other games. So it didn't really change the market in any interesting way. Pokemon Go was very different. Pokemon Go was clearly a different type of game. There was no other game like it, and it grew the market because the money it took was not really displaced from other games. People didn't stop spending in other mobile games and start spending in Pokemon Go. These were quite a lot of new gamers spending money for the first time in a new type of game. So that actually grew the market. So we can't really suggest that these market intelligence companies can predict these unknown unknowns, I suppose, to quote one man. but equally, I guess you could be. They should have some scenario planning, I guess, where you could think, what's the likelihood of a phenomenal game coming in, a fad. What's the likelihood of that happening in the market at this point? If that did happen, how much revenue would it take? Would it increase? So I'm sure that kind of thing is being looked at, but to have some sort of transparency in how they're looking at their models, I think would be very interesting for the market as a whole. And the other thing that arises for me, at least, is what I'd be much more interested in, rather than how big the mobile game market is in 2016 or 2021. What I'd like to see is these companies retrospectively saying, well, this is what we predicted for 2016 last year, and this is what we think it is now. And the reason those two things differ is X, Y, Z. China grew faster than we thought. Pokemon Go came out of nowhere. It's much more interesting to understand, why, and it's not to say why they were wrong. I mean, why technically it's actually, why an estimate at the time was an underestimate or overestimate because of these reasons, these trends that are underpinning the mobile game growth. They didn't happen as fast, or happened faster than we thought. So it's much more interesting, I think, for them to be a bit more open about the numbers that they did predict and the fact that they weren't correct. Because a bit of what happens at the moment is everyone, no one quotes old numbers that are wrong. Because what's the point in that? It makes themselves look stupid. Well, it shouldn't. It doesn't make themselves look stupid. What they should be competing on is how their understanding of the market happens, not how big the market is, or because what tends to happen as well is, we clearly have this kind of number over exaggeration. So everyone likes to predict the biggest number because that makes the market seem like, oh, it's growing and vibrant, and then obviously people will potentially spend money buying these big reports. So that's just an inherent kind of a inflationary factor in the prediction market. But I think we need to at least ask the question, can these companies be a bit more open and tell us kind of why things are changing, because that's much more interesting than the absolute numbers. So thanks for watching. This is your daily mobile game sizzle, where we like to drill down into some of the more interesting aspects of the mobile game business and industry, and see what the trends are that are going on. So don't forget to subscribe, and hope to see you again soon. Hi, and thanks for watching right to the end of the video. We always like to see your comments, so please put them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe. And check out some more of our other videos about the mobile games industry. There's two really good examples on your screen right now.